As we all know, Rings of Power Season 1 was not received very well and at the time was widely considered as a failure. This could be down to a few reasons, such as a deviation from Tolkien's source material, including a condensed timeline, which in turn is claimed to have led to pacing and world building issues. Or it could be that the show was considered to have unlikable characters, particularly the Harfoots. There are also claims of a lack of character development, which I think was really unfair to say at that point in time, due to the fact that the show only had released one season. How can a fleshed out character be developed convincingly in one season? In this video, I'm going to attempt to argue my reasons for why I think the overall hate directed towards the show is unjustified, particularly in Season 1. I've always enjoyed Rings of Power for what it is, and I think a pretty great Season 2 changed a lot of people's minds on where the series is heading. Sometimes all it takes is a little bit of patience to see the bigger picture. Now I will start by saying the world building is by no means perfect, but the showrunners do a fantastic job of making the series immersive through the stunning visuals used to depict locations such as Lindon, Eregion, Numenor, and of course Khazad-dûm. Each location throughout the series has its own concurrent storyline. This allows for each character to be fleshed out at a steady pace. The stunning visuals and production design bring Middle-earth to life, capturing its beauty and danger, which enhances the immersive experience. Whilst we see Prince Durin IV in Season 1 develop his friendship with Elrond, it takes place in Khazad-dûm, also known as Moria. We also get a chance to witness his ongoing conflict with his father, King Durin, and at the same time bring forth the discovery of Mithril into the mix. Meanwhile, the real danger to Khazad-dûm lurks in the shadows beneath the mountain. The Balrog, Durin's bane. The introduction of the ore Mithril serves as a great omen that the dwarven greed for prosperity will one day lead to their downfall, whilst at the same time acting as a saviour for the elves of Lindon, who seek out Mithril for their own survival, unbeknownst yet to Elrond. Two birds, one stone from a storytelling perspective. These elements illustrate Durin's character development and the broader themes of friendship, loyalty, and the consequences of ambition. All key themes throughout Tolkien's works. Before dwarves and elves hated one another, Durin and Elrond's friendship stood the test of time, and perhaps led to the saviour of the elves. High King Gil-galad knew to exploit this friendship, and this showcases his cunning as a leader. Exploit is nearly too harsh of a word used in this case, but Gil-galad was desperate to ensure his people's survival. In The Rings of Power, Elrond's portrayal aligns with Tolkien's vision, capturing his role as both a diplomat and a warrior, essential to the preservation of Middle-earth. The series reflects Tolkien's depiction of Elrond as a wise, foresighted figure who values alliances and diplomacy, particularly in his interactions with the dwarves of Khazad-dûm. His character embodies Tolkien's emphasis on unity across races to combat darkness, a recurring theme in The Lord of the Rings. Additionally, his background as a half-elf, bridging human and elvish worlds, gives him a unique empathy and perspective, which the show emphasises, staying faithful to Tolkien's nuanced, multi-dimensional vision of Elrond as both a political leader and a guardian of Middle-earth's legacy. Gil-galad, Elrond, and reluctantly Galadriel agree that Galadriel should set sail for the Undying Lands and rejoin the immortal Valar. After her pursuit of Sauron is deemed to be at an end, while sailing for the Undying Lands, Galadriel backs out last minute and decides to go on the swim of a lifetime. I will admit, it's a little silly, but hey, that's fantasy. It's here that she comes across a group of shipwrecked humans, among them the supposed Southlander, Halbrand. The tides of fate are flowing. Yours might be heading in or out. The first words Halbrand says to Galadriel, the same words that Galadriel uses when telling Frodo he must venture on in the Fellowship many moons later. The first hint that Halbrand is Sauron in disguise, used discreetly by the writers, and a seed has been planted for the ongoing season. It is, however, ironic that as Galadriel has agreed to end her pursuit of Sauron, one last flicker of hope had sparked her to abandon ship, and the first person she meets is Sauron in disguise, who at the same time had been recently thought murdered by Adar and his orcs. later showcased at the start of Season 2. Sauron saw Galadriel as his way back into the fold after somewhat giving up, and Galadriel in turn grew to see Halbrand as her way of uniting the Southlanders under one banner when the Deceiver eventually spins her the tale of his made-up heritage when the two finally make it to Numenor. We finally get to see the Great Deceiver in action from the get-go, and Charlie Vickers does an amazing job of showcasing his acting talent, an excellent choice for Sauron. Some feel the portrayal of Galadriel diverges from the wise and ethereal figure seen in Tolkien's works, depicting her more as aggressive and ambitious, and claims that she is quite annoying. This is somewhat true, but in my opinion, in order for her to develop as a character to the Galadriel that we know in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, she must make mistakes along the way. I can imagine that the Galadriel we will see in the later seasons will be much more akin to her portrayal in Lord of the Rings, but for now we need her to be something else. Season 2 finishes by showing Galadriel in what I think is supposed to be the basis of Rivendell. It looks exactly like Tolkien's painting, The Fair Valley of Rivendell, which is a good job for a cross-reference. She's out of her armour in a more ethereal white dress after being stabbed with Morgoth's crown by Sauron. Perhaps we will be seeing less of the warrior Galadriel in Season 3 and more of the wise, otherworldly elf that we are all familiar with. The dark magic embedded in Morgoth's crown is bound to have a part to play in her further development. As I said before, all it takes is a little bit of patience to see the bigger picture. Perhaps people don't like the idea that Galadriel ultimately fell for Sauron in disguise. You are more than you let on. Highlights her perception of his complexity and depth. This line, along with their shared experiences and moments of connection, suggests a developing bond between them. However, I think it serves as an excellent choice for showcasing how blinded she was by her ambitions, and it's a callback to when Elrond expresses concern that Galadriel's quest for vengeance could lead her down a dark path, suggesting that her relentless pursuit might bring her closer to becoming like Sauron. This reflects the overarching theme of the series about the dangers of power and the fine line between light and darkness. Now I will, however, say that I find the Harfoots to be a little hard to put up with at times. They did have their good moments, yes, but you know, a lot of the times they were quite annoying, particularly the horrible Irish accents, and they just weren't too relatable or convincing, to be honest. But we can at least say they served their part story-wise in setting up the Stranger / Gandalf and potentially forming the Shire. The Harfoots help shape Gandalf's character by teaching him about community, friendship, and the importance of kindness and resilience. They show him how to appreciate the simple joys of life, emphasising the value of helping one another and the strength found in togetherness. All very Tolkien when you think about it. Their way of life and values contribute to Gandalf's understanding of humanity and the importance of protecting those who are vulnerable. This relationship helps deepen his empathy and reinforces his role as a protector and guide in the broader struggle against darkness. Gandalf, and particularly Sir Ian McKellen's portrayal, is perhaps the most iconic character in film and TV, next to maybe Darth Vader, James Bond. But like James Bond, as the wheel of time spins on, we must allow for new perspectives of the character. A fresh face in Daniel Wyman will allow for the character to live on a little further in pop fiction. He has clearly studied the role very well. I thought it was quite easy to pick up from the beginning on who he was, particularly due to the actor's use of facial features. They were quite like Sir Ian McKellen's use as Gandalf, and of course the dialogue towards the end of the first season. When in doubt, Eleanor Brandyfoot, always follow your nose. This line used by the Stranger at the end of the Season 1 is exactly the same advice Gandalf offers to Merry in Lord of the Rings. Again, a clever use of foreshadowing from the writers with the use of dialogue. Overall, the dialogue in the series deserves a shout out of its own. There's some brilliant hard-hitting lines throughout. This analysis concludes that the series effectively uses dialogue and foreshadowing to enrich its narrative, ultimately advocating for a more nuanced appreciation of the show's potential. Again, a literary device used by Tolkien on numerous occasions. The condensed timeline in Rings of Power serves multiple narrative and thematic purposes that enhance its adaptation of Tolkien's work. First, by compressing events, the show can concentrate on key storylines and character arcs, resulting in a more streamlined narrative that maintains viewer engagement. This is especially important in an episodic format where pacing is crucial to capturing the audience's attention. Moreover, a condensed timeline allows for quicker exploration of essential themes such as the rise of evil, friendship, and sacrifice. By emphasizing the urgency of the character's struggles against Sauron, the series heightens the dramatic stakes and provides a sense of immediacy that resonates with the viewer. This approach facilitates character development as it enables the show to illustrate pivotal moments in characters' journey without losing focus, making it easier for the audience to connect with their experiences. Additionally, this strategy makes the complex lore of Middle-earth more accessible to those unfamiliar with Tolkien's extensive histories. By presenting a shorter timeline, the series draws in new fans while still offering nods to die-hard Tolkien enthusiasts, but somehow along the way it has been deemed as not enough. Finally, the visual medium of the series benefits from this condensed approach, allowing for dynamic storytelling. Key events can be depicted in visually stunning ways that amplify the emotional weight of the narrative. In summary, the decision to condense the timeline in Rings of Power not only enhances narrative clarity, but also enriches thematic exploration and character development, creating a compelling adaptation that resonates with a diverse audience.